This is the last part of the second chapter, part 3. Okay, in this part we'll study about common potential, then the loss of energy during shearing of charges. Then we'll study about polar and non-polar dielectrics. After that, we'll find out the expression of the capacitance when a conducting slab is inserted between the plates of a parallel plate capacitor. And in the last, we'll find out the capacitance when a dielectric slab is inserted between the plates of the capacitor. Let's start with the first topic, that is common potential. Whenever two capacitors which are charged to different potentials are connected by a conducting wire, then the charges will start flowing from the higher potential capacitor to the lower potential capacitor until they reach to the same potential. This potential is called as the common potential. Let these are the two parallel plate capacitors of capacitances C1 and C2, and they are charged to different potentials. Let C1 is charged to V1 potential and C2 is charged to V2 potential, and let V1 is greater than V2. When they are connected by a conducting wire, the charges will start flowing from the first capacitor, that is the higher potential capacitor, to the lower potential capacitor until they reach to the same potential, they reach to the common potential, they reach to equal potential. Let that common potential is V. So two capacitors which are charged to different potentials are connected by a conducting wire. The charges will start flowing from higher potential capacitor to the lower one until they reach to the same potential, and this potential is called as the common potential. So here the total charge of the two capacitors, the total charge on the two capacitors before connecting by a conducting wire, before connecting, should be equal to the total charge after connecting. We know that charge is always conserved. So the total charge before shearing, or you may say before connecting, should be equal to the total charge after connecting. Now what is the total charge before connecting with the conducting wire? The charge on the first capacitor, which is C1V1, plus the charge on the second capacitor, which is C2V2. Now after connecting, both of them come to the same potential. So what is the charge on the first capacitor? Let both of them reach to a potential V. So what is the charge on the first capacitor? C1 into V. And what is the charge on the second capacitor? It is C2 into V. This V is called as the common potential, and this V is given by C1 V1 plus C2 V2 upon C1 plus C2. This is the expression of common potential when two capacitors which are charged to different potentials are connected by a conducting wire. Okay, this is the expression when the two capacitors are connected in parallel. In series, it will be C1 V1 minus C2 V2 upon C1 plus C2. So here we see that the total charge lost by one of the capacitor will be equal to the charge which is gained by the other capacitor. But this is not true for the potential. Okay, so only the charge which is lost by one of the capacitor will be equal to the charge gained by the other capacitor. Okay, now during this charging, that is when the charges are transferred from one capacitor to the other, there is some loss of energy. So next topic is loss of energy during sharing of charges. Okay, so we'll find out the total energy before they are connected by a conducting wire, and then we'll find out the total energy after connecting by a conducting wire. Then we'll find out the difference, which will be the loss of energy. Okay, we know that whenever two capacitors are connected by a conducting wire, they reach to the same potential, which is called as the common potential. and is given by C1 V1 plus C2 V2 upon C1 plus C2. This is the common potential. Now the total energy of the two capacitors before sharing of charges, or you may say before connecting by a conducting wire, let it is U1. So it will be the energy stored in the first capacitor, which is half C1 V1 square, plus the energy stored in the second capacitor, half C2 V2 square. Why? Because the first capacitor of capacitance C1 is charged to V1 potential, and the energy stored in the first capacitor is half C1 V1 square, and the energy stored in the second capacitor is half C2 V2 square. Now we'll find out the total energy after sharing of the charges, that is the total energy after connecting by the conducting wire. Let it is U2, and the total energy will be equal to half the energy of the first capacitor. Now both of them reach to the same potential, half C1 into V square plus half C2 into V square. Why? Because both of them reach to the same potential. So this can be written as half C1 plus C2 into V square. Let's substitute this V. So U2 is equal to, this is the energy after connecting by a conducting wire, is equal to half C1 plus C2, C1 V1 plus C2 V2 upon C1 plus C2 whole square. Okay, on simplifying it, we get it this C1 plus C2 whole square, and in the numerator it is C1 plus C2. This cancels out. So we get half, denominator will be C1 plus C2, and the numerator will be C1 V1 plus C2 V2 whole square, which is equal to C1 square V1 square plus C2 square V2 square plus 2C1 C2 into V1 V2. So this is the energy after sharing of the charges. Now let's find out U1 minus U2. What is this? This is the loss of energy. Let it is delta U. This is the loss of energy. Let's find out. So it will be equal to half C1 V1 square, half C2 V2 square. This part is U1 minus half of C1 square V1 square plus C2 square V2 square plus 2C1 C2 V1 into V2 upon C1 plus C2. Now taking the LCM of it and simplifying it, you can find out its LCM and then simplify it. Then what do we get? This is the loss of energy, which we get it as C1 into C2 V1 minus V2 whole square upon twice of C1 plus C2. So this is the expression of loss of energy, and this loss of energy appears in the form of spark or heat. So some sparking is produced in that connecting wire and some heat is produced. So this loss of energy will appear in the form of heat. So here we see that U1 is greater than U2. Why? Because V1 minus V2 whole square will be always positive. So delta U is positive and delta U is U1 minus U2. So U1 is always greater than energy. This is the loss of energy which appears in the form of heat and spark. Now the next topic is non-polar and polar dielectrics. Dielectrics are the insulating materials which are of two types. The first one is non-polar dielectrics. Non-polar dielectrics in which the molecules of these substances are such that the center of positive charge coincides with the center of the negative charge. the center of the positive charge coincides with the center of the negative charge because the molecules are symmetric. So as the center of positive and negative charge are coinciding, so what is the dipole moment? Dipole moment is zero in its normal state, and such a molecule is called as the non-polar dielectric molecule. Let here, this is the positive charge and the negative charges are here. So the center of the negative and the center of the positive charges both are at the same point. So this molecule is symmetric and its dipole moment is zero. So such a molecule is called as a non-polar dielectric molecule. Okay, and the examples are H2, N2, O2, CO2, etc. All these are the examples of non-polar dielectric molecules. You can see that these molecules are symmetric. Next is polar dielectrics. The molecules of these substances are such that the center of the positive and the negative charges do not coincide because these molecules are asymmetric. So these molecules have some dipole moment in its normal state. And the examples are H2O, alcohol, NH3, HCl, etc. So these are called as the polar dielectrics, in which the center of the positive and the negative charges in its normal state do not coincide. They are called as the polar dielectrics. Now next we'll study about dielectric polarization. Dielectric polarization means this non-polar dielectric molecule, if it is polarized, if it is made as a polar dielectric molecule, this phenomenon is called as the dielectric polarization. So when a non-polar dielectric is held in, how can we polarize it? By placing it in external electric field E0. Let this is the external electric field E0, in which a non-polar dielectric molecule is when placed. The positive charge will experience a force along the direction of E0. So it will move along the direction of E0, whereas the negative charges will experience a force in the opposite direction. So this non-polar dielectric molecule gets polarized, and this phenomenon is called as dielectric polarization. So dielectric polarization means when a non-polar dielectric molecule is placed in external electric field, like here it is E0, the positive charge experiences a force along the direction of E0 and the negative charges in the opposite direction. So the molecule, it gets distorted, it gets elongated, and the center of the positive and the negative charge, they get separated by a small distance. That is, it has some dipole. Now it has some dipole moment. So this phenomenon is called as the dielectric polarization. So thus each molecule becomes a tiny electric dipole with a dipole moment which will be parallel to the external electric field. Why? Because we know that dipole moment is from negative to the positive charge, which is along the direction of E0. So it becomes polarized. It gets some dipole moment, and the direction of the dipole moment will be along the direction of the electric field. Let here consider one atom. Q is the charge, and now let the center of the positive and the negative charges separated by x distance. So the dipole moment of each atom will be given as Q into x. X is the distance of separation of positive and negative charge. If there are n number of atoms per unit volume, if there are n number of atoms per unit volume, then the total dipole moment density, will be equal to n into p. N is what? The number of atoms per unit volume, and this is the dipole moment of each atom. And what is the dipole moment of each atom? Q into x. So the dipole moment density, which is also called as the electric polarization. It is also called as the electric polarization. So this electric polarization or the dipole moment density is given by N into Q into X. Okay, so and its unit will be N is what? Number of atoms per unit volume. That is N will be equal to 1 upon meter cube and Q into X, coulomb into meter. So its unit becomes coulomb per meter square. Okay, now this was only about one molecule which is kept in the uniform electric field. It gets polarized. Now if a dielectric slab is placed in uniform electric field, we have already studied when a conducting slab is placed in uniform electric field, then we have seen that the net electric field in the interior of the conductor is zero and the net charge inside the conductor is zero. Why? Because there are free electrons and these electrons will move in the opposite direction of the external electric field till the electric field created by them becomes equals to the external electric field. So the net electric field inside a conductor is zero. Now we have placed a dielectric slab ABCD in uniform electric field. How can the uniform electric field be created? Here this sheet is connected to is given a positive charge and the other sheet is given a negative charge. So the electric field between the sheets is uniform. Let it is E naught. Now a dielectric slab ABCD is placed in it. Okay, now we see that here there are no mobile electrons, no free electrons, but each atom will orient in such a way that negative charge will come close to this positive sheet, whereas the positive charge will come close to this negative sheet. So each atom will orient in this similar manner. Due to this orientation, some electric field is created inside inside the dielectric slab. Let it is EP. Okay, now what will be the net electric field in the interior of this dielectric slab? It will be E naught minus EP. Why? Because E naught is the external electric field. Whenever this dielectric slab is placed in external electric field, each atom will orient in such a way that this AB side will get a negative charge and the CD side will get a positive charge, due to which some electric field is created inside which is in the opposite direction of E naught. Okay, and then the net electric field in the interior of the dielectric slab is E naught minus EP. So this is the reduced value of the electric field inside the slab. Okay, and this can also be written as, we have already studied the electric field in air to the electric field in medium is called as the dielectric constant. So this reduced value of the electric field is related to dielectric constant by K. K is the dielectric constant, which we also call it as the relative permittivity, which is equal to E naught upon E. E naught is the external electric field and E is the reduced value of the electric field which is created inside the dielectric slab when it is placed in uniform external electric field. So the dielectric constant is related to this reduced value of electric field as given by this expression K is equal to E naught upon E. Okay, now here we'll study about electric susceptibility. Electric susceptibility, we know that the electric polarization, which we also call it as the total dipole moment density, it is found that it is directly proportional to the reduced value of the electric field. Okay, and what is this reduced value of the electric field? It is E naught minus EP, or in terms of dielectric constant, this is the reduced, K is given by E naught upon the reduced value of the electric field. Now, the dielectric polarization or the total dipole moment density is directly proportional to this reduced value when we equate it a constant of proportionality comes, which is a Greek symbol, and in Greek it is called as chi. So the dielectric polarization is equal to chi into the reduced value of electric field. So P is equal to chi into E. Okay, and this dielectric constant is related to electric susceptibility by K is equal to 1 plus chi. Okay, so whenever a dielectric slab is placed in uniform electric field, some electric field remains inside the dielectric slab, and this is called as the reduced value of the electric field, and which is equal to, in terms of dielectric constant, E naught upon the reduced value, or which you can write it as E naught minus EP. EP is the electric field in the interior of the dielectric slab when it is placed in uniform electric field. The next topic is capacitance of a parallel plate capacitor when conducting slab is inserted between the plates of the capacitor. Okay, let this is the parallel plate capacitor, which is created between two parallel sheets, one having plus sigma surface charge density, that is positive charge is on this sheet, and the equal amount of negative charge on the other sheet. So the uniform electric field between them is E naught. Now a conducting slab, that is a conductor, is placed between the plates of the capacitor, whose thickness is T. D is the separation distance between the two plates. So obviously here we see that T is less than D. Okay, now first we'll write the expression of capacitance when this conducting slab is not inserted, when air is between the plates of the capacitor. We know that capacitance of a parallel plate capacitor with air between the plates is given by epsilon naught into A upon D. D is the separation distance between the two plates. So this is the capacitance when air is there between the plates of the capacitor. Now, when a conducting slab of thickness T is inserted between the plates of the capacitor, then the potential will exist only for D minus T distance. Why? Because inside this conductor, we know that the net electric field is zero. We have already studied that when a conductor is placed in uniform electric field, in external electric field, then the electrons start moving in the opposite direction until the electric field created by them becomes equals to E naught. So the net electric field inside the conductor is zero. So now the potential is existing only for D minus T distance. So the potential is equal to the external electric field, which is existing only for D minus T distance. And this electric field can be written as sigma. We know that the electric field between the plates of the capacitor is given by sigma upon epsilon naught. This is epsilon naught, sigma upon epsilon naught into D minus T. Now what is this sigma? Sigma is the surface charge density. If Q is the charge and the plate area is A, then sigma is given by Q by A epsilon naught into D minus T. So this is the potential which is existing only for this distance. Why? Because the net electric field is zero inside. So the electric field is existing only for D minus T distance. So the potential is electric field into the distance, and that is E naught into D minus T. Now we know that the capacitance, now the capacitance between the plates of the capacitor, let it is C. C is equal to Q upon V. Substituting this V, we get Q upon Q by A epsilon naught into D minus T. Q and Q cancels out, and the expression what we get is A epsilon naught upon D minus T. This is the expression for the capacitance of a parallel plate capacitor when a conducting slab is inserted. This can be written in terms of C naught. So the capacitance when the conducting slab is inserted can also be written as A epsilon naught. Take this B common inside the bracket 1 minus T upon D. Now this A epsilon naught upon D is C naught. That is the capacitance with air between the plates. So this can be written as C naught upon 1 minus T upon D. So this is the expression of the capacitance of a parallel plate capacitor in terms of C naught when the conducting slab is inserted, or in terms of area it can be written as A epsilon naught upon D minus T. Okay, now if T is equal to D, if T is equal to D, which means that this total distance, that is the plates of the capacitor, is equal to the thickness of this conducting slab. That is the capacitance is, now the capacitance C will be equal to T is equal to D. From here you can see the denominator will be 1 minus 1 and C naught upon 0, and anything divided by 0 is infinity. So it means that when a conducting slab fits completely between the plates of the capacitor, then its capacitance becomes infinite. That is, a conductor has infinite capacitance. So when a conducting slab is inserted, the capacitance is given by A epsilon naught D minus T, where T is the thickness of the conducting slab, or in terms of C naught, it is given by 1 minus T upon D. Okay, now we'll study when a dielectric slab is inserted between the plates of the capacitor. Okay, this is a air-filled capacitor whose separation distance of the plates is d. So the uniform electric field created between the plates is E naught. Now a dielectric slab of thickness T is inserted between the plates of the capacitor. We know that the electric field inside the slab will be reduced, and the reduced value of the electric field is given by E naught minus EP, which is also equal to E naught upon K, where K is the dielectric constant. Okay, now the capacitance when air is filled between the plates of the capacitor, that is the dielectric slab is not inserted, is given by epsilon naught A upon D. D is the separation distance between the plates of the capacitor. Okay, now when the dielectric slab is inserted, the electric field between the electric field inside the dielectric slab is reduced, which is given by E naught minus EP, which is also equal to E naught upon K. K is the dielectric constant. Okay, now the electric field in the distance T minus T is E naught, and inside this dielectric slab, that is in the thickness T, it is E naught by K. So the potential will be given by the potential difference between the plates will be given by E naught is existing for D minus T distance, potential is electric field into the distance. So E naught into D minus T. Now some electric field exists between the plates of the between the dielectric slab, which is E naught upon K existing for T distance. So this is the potential inside the dielectric slab, and this is the potential outside the dielectric slab, that is for D minus T distance. Again in the same way we'll find out E naught is sigma upon epsilon naught. Sigma upon epsilon naught. Take this E naught common. What do we get inside? D minus T plus T upon K. E naught we have taken outside, which is equal to sigma upon epsilon naught. And this E sigma is equal to charge. It is the surface charge density, which is charge per unit area. Let the area of the plate is A. So Q upon A epsilon naught D minus T plus T upon K. Okay, now let's find out the capacitance. Capacitance when what is inserted? The dielectric slab is inserted. Now the capacitance is C. C is equal to Q upon V. So substituting this V over here, we get Q upon A epsilon naught into D minus T plus T upon K. This is the capacitance Q and Q cancels out, and this can be written as A epsilon naught upon D minus T plus T upon K is the expression for the capacitance when a dielectric slab is inserted between the plates of the capacitor. Now in terms of C naught, how can it be written? A epsilon naught upon, take this D common in the denominator, inside the bracket 1 minus T upon D plus T upon D into K. K is what? Dielectric constant. Now we know that A epsilon naught upon D is C naught. So this can also be written as C naught upon 1 minus T upon D plus T upon D into K is the expression of the capacitance in terms of C naught. So when a dielectric slab is inserted, the capacitance of the parallel plate capacitor, either it is given by A epsilon naught upon D minus T upon plus T by K, or in terms of C naught, it is given by C naught upon 1 minus T upon D plus T upon D into K. K is the dielectric constant. Okay, now if the dielectric slab fits in completely between the plates of the capacitor, that is P is equal to D. The dielectric slab is completely fitting the plates of the capacitor. Then C is equal to C naught. Substitute this P is equal to D. This will become 1. This term becomes 1. 1 minus 1, it becomes 0. And here, what do we get? C naught upon 1 by K. That is, it is equal to K into C naught. So, when the dielectric slab completely fills between the plates of the capacitor, now the capacitance will become K into C naught. Okay, so here we have studied the expression of the capacitance when the conducting slab is inserted and when the dielectric slab is inserted. Conducting slab inserted, there is no electric field inside the conducting slab. Okay, but when the dielectric slab is inserted, then reduced value of the electric field remains, which is equal to E naught upon K. And these are the expressions for the capacitance. So, we have completed the third part and the chapter number 2. If you haven't subscribed the channel yet, kindly do so. Thank you.